Today, in this episode, we'll continue our conversation with Samantha, who is currently a Year 2 student studying psychology in University of Exeter. In the last episode, Samantha shared us her social life in the university and, of course, the social life during this COVID period. She arranged a lot of online activities, talks, for the society she has participated. In this episode, we want to move back. How did she prepare for the moving from Hong Kong? So a lot of packing and so many stuff. So, hello, Samantha. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank
So,
you.
Samantha, by the way, I like your videos.
Oh,
Your
thank
videos make me
you.
laugh so hard because my experience is actually quite similar to yours.
Really?
I don't have seven suitcases. That seven suitcases makes I'm proud of you.
Thank
Seven
you.
suitcases.
I know it's an achievement.
And you have seven suitcases and the tissue packs. I did have a drawer of tissue packs as well.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I feel like so. Well, that's exactly me. That's exactly me.
Yes.
But okay, so please tell me how where do you find the list for those stuff that you prepare? Do you find like several lists online and you combine all of them, make a whole list, and then you pack them for seven suitcases? Did you do that?
Actually, I didn't. I made up the list by myself.
Wow.
Which I think was a wrong choice. If I looked online, I don't think I would have ended up like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you mentioned in the last episode that you are currently staying in a flat, right? That is
Yes.
a sharing apartment, right?
Yeah, like a shared kitchen, and you have your ensuite room.
Right, and five students in the room.
Yes, 5 students.
Okay. How big is the room?
Actually, it's quite big. Like definitely enough for one student. Like I had a double bed, and I still had some space to put my shoe rack, and I bought a rack from IKEA to hang my clothes. So actually, yeah, quite like enough space. It's
Yeah.
quite a lot. Yeah.
Like around 20 square meters. I don't know, like 20 square meters, like 200 feet square
No,
feet. Something
I
like
don't know the dimensions.
that.
Like okay,
No worries.
maybe use this room as a standard. It's bigger than this room.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's why I wonder. You have seven suitcases,
Yeah.
and how do you fit all of them into a single room? That was my question. How do you fit all of them?
Well, actually, it wasn't that difficult. The room had a lot of storage space. Exactly. So it's quite big for one person. And even with 7 suitcases worth of stuff, my room still had some empty spaces. So actually, I think my room right now has more than 7 suitcases of stuff because I thought it was empty, right? I kept buying more stuff when I went to the UK, so to fill it up.
So my number one question as well.
Yes.
You have sent, well, you have got 7 suitcases to your new apartment.
Yes.
Please be honest. How many boxes, paper boxes, you sent or shipped from Hong Kong, other than the 7 suitcases?
0.
No.
Yes.
You don't say anything.
I actually haven't sent anything. I haven't sent anything from Hong Kong to the UK. I think that's why I have 7 suitcases, right? I brought way too many stuff. I don't need to ship more things to the UK.
Because I remember when I was studying abroad. When I was studying abroad, I have
Yeah.
like how much suitcases? I got 3, 4 suitcases.
Mm-hmm.
Then I asked my family to send me over like 4, 5 boxes.
Oh, well, that's not a lot of difference with 7 suitcases then, right? It's not that
True,
many.
true, true, true. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think so that's why I didn't spend any money on shipping, right? As I said in the video, it's so expensive to ship things. So to avoid that, I brought everything by suitcases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any second-hand shops or second-hand bazaar near in the city or near to the school?
Not that I know of. Actually, I think it would be a really good choice for university to do that. But then I don't think, I mean, at least Exeter, they didn't really have a second hand, bazaar sale. That's why I bought everything, like bought every new stuff by
Not
myself.
even in the city, not even within the city.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Yeah.
I remember. I remember I bought a vacuum cleaner from the second-hand shop.
Oh, really?
Do you have a vacuum cleaner?
I didn't bring a vacuum cleaner. I was close to doing that though, but I didn't have any more space. But I mean, luckily I didn't get it because the student accommodations usually provide it. You could just borrow it from them.
Ah.
So
Also, you can borrow a vacuum cleaner and other. What else could you borrow from the student accommodation or the
um,
dormitory?
I think the iron, I think
Mhm.
they provide it. And um, let me think. Oh, and actually like screwdrivers and everything. So like tools, right? So when I
Mhm.
brought the furnitures from IKEA,
Mhm.
yeah, I had to borrow it from them. So like basically the basic tools they usually have it and you don't have to bring it by yourself.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good. And have you how do you furnish your places? Do you need to buy you need to buy a sofa or your tables, your desk? Do you need to buy them from the UK?
No, you don't have to buy a sofa.
No.
Yes, of course not. Okay, yes, the room is big, but not that big that you could fit a sofa in. Yes. So no, you don't have to bring a sofa.
I
Absolutely
mean, not
not.
bring. I mean, to buy. I
Oh, to
mean,
buy.
to buy, to
No, you
buy.
don't have. No, still no.
Still no.
Still no. I mean, if you need a sitting area, it should be in your shared kitchen. So, you don't need that.
A desk? How do you buy a desk?
No, you're saying like I brought all furnitures now. No, not you don't have to, because desk is in your room, right?
Also,
And
they are provided already.
yes, they are provided. Yes, yes, yes.
No, in my previous experience, in my study, I don't have them.
Oh, okay,
That's the reason
that's
why
why.
that's the reason why I was asking because I need to buy a desk for myself. I need to buy the bed. Let me see the bed. Well, they have the rack, but they don't have the mattress. So I
Oh,
need to go to the second-hand shop
okay.
to buy this mattress by myself.
I see. Oh, that's why you asked about the bazaar
Yes,
sale and everything.
exactly.
Okay, no, no, no. I think they're very well equipped.
Very good.
Yeah, so I thought you're asking me because you thought I was like, being crazy,
No,
I bought 7 suitcases.
no,
Why not furnitures? That's what
because
I
that
thought
is
you
a
were
true
asking.
experience.
Yes, no, no, no. I think nowadays, especially in the UK, most rooms are really well equipped. They have
Okay,
beds, they have desk and everything.
okay.
So don't worry.
But and from a video you have talked about you have suggested a list what to bring and what not to bring,
Right.
and I can find that there are lots of daily necessities are not suggested to bring from Hong Kong, right?
Mm.
So my question is, what is the price level in your city? Are they expensive usually, or are they like what are the price level there? Are they affordable?
It depends on which department store you go to. In fact, in my video, I've listed a list of department stores that you could go to, right?
Right.
And I've tried to organize them by price range. So the cheapest one should be Wilco. So then like those stuff are obviously very cheap. For example, buying like a kettle for £6. You can't even get that in Hong Kong with that price.
True.
But then whereas if you go to like the most expensive ones like John Lewis, then they could cost like way more, right? Maybe even more expensive than Hong Kong. So you could buy a fan in John Lewis, like a Dyson, fancy fan. So obviously those would be expensive. But then if you go to Wilco, then it's like for a few pounds. So I think it depends on the department store more than the cities.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So in your list, your suggestion list, there is medicine. So you asked. Well, I did brought the Panadol, some other painkillers or some medicine that I usually take in Hong Kong. Just wonder how does the medicine prescription and the doctor consultation work in UK?
Oof. I haven't really like fetched a doctor. I haven't got really sick that I have to fetch a doctor in the UK. But then I had a bad experience with the NHS before. So I had to take a vaccine. So it's just like one of the usual vaccines that you have to take when you first got to the UK.
Okay.
And I told them that I have G6PD, which is a deficiency. Okay, anyway, so they asked me, what is it? I'm like, it's a deficiency? I'm not sure. Like, you should know, right? You're a nurse. And then she was like, nah, it doesn't matter. And she just helped me take the vaccine just like that. Like, didn't even like try to research or understand what it was. And they didn't they didn't wipe it, they didn't clean it, and then they just boop, and then just took it for me. So I was like, from then on, I lost all confidence in the medical, in the NHS. That's why, like, another point to that would be like their medicine is probably not as safe. Okay. UK should be safe. UK should be safe.
Yeah, they're safe, but
they're safe. But you're not familiar with them. Like, you haven't seen them before, right? Whereas Panadols, you're familiar with what it does, when to take it, and everything, right? But then in UK, they have a whole different range of of medicine that is not in Hong Kong. So then, I feel like medicine, you should take it if you take those that you're familiar with. Yeah. So
but can you go to a pharmacy to buy medicines? When you go to pharmacy to buy medicines, do you need to have a prescription there? Give it to the pharmacist. Or have you ever bought any medicine?
I never.
Oh.
Yeah, again, to avoid that. That's why I brought the Panadols and everything. And I think that applies to most Hong Kong students, to be honest. Yeah. So
I think I remember before when I studied abroad, I brought Panadol, I brought diarrhea medicine.
Yes, that.
And I have nose allergy, so I brought those medicines. But in some cases, some sudden cases that I don't really have those medicine by myself, I have to go to the pharmacy. And some of the medicine you can buy directly from the pharmacy, but some of the medicine they will say no, we can't provide you those medicine because you need a doctor prescription. So that was my experience. So that's why I was thinking, okay, if you're packing the medicine, like what kind of medicines other than Panadol?
Okay, I see. Let me think.
Other than Panadol, what else have you brought?
I bought same as you, like nose allergy, like diarrhea and cough medicine. And I got all of those from my doctor in Hong Kong, and I brought enough. That's why I never had to go to pharmacy to buy them.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
not too sure if you need a doctor's prescription though, but even if you do, I think it'd be easy, right? Because NHS for international students should be free anyway. So if you really need to, get the medicine, I think you could just go to NHS and then ask the doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So other than the packing, other than packing the all the utensils or all the things that you need in UK, so what else did you prepare in advance before you moved to UK?
Well, most important thing, the visa. And I would suggest you to do it as soon as you know for sure that you're going. Because for me, I actually accepted the offer relatively late. So then when most of my peers already got their visa, I've just decided that I wanted to go to the UK. Which meant that I had to pay extra to get the express visa, and they could be quite expensive. So getting a visa is already expensive, and getting an express one is even more expensive, because around summertime, every student is going to the visa store, like not a store, but like visa office. Yes. And I heard so many stories where they have to line up through like the whole night to get the visa and everything, right? So to avoid doing that, just do it as soon as possible. And the second thing is accommodations. So yes, because accommodations, they could get full very soon. So again, if you have
provided by the university, or are there
provided
a
by the
housing agency?
some are provided by the university, and some are like private. But then for year ones, they usually go to the ones that are organized by the university, right? But then again, if you have accepted the offer late and basically delayed every process that comes after it, you have a chance of not being able to book the university one. Because again, like all international students will be aiming to get those rooms.
So because they are quite close to the university.
Yes, in campus, in fact.
Okay.
Yes. So I do know someone who didn't have time, or I mean they accepted the offer late, and then they had to book a room by themselves that is outside of campus. So make sure like those two things are the most important ones, I think, before going to the UK.
How much are they?
For student accommodation?
Student accommodation, student dormitory, or if you know what, like how much does this cost for the outskirts? I mean, outside the campus.
Within campus, it's around £150 per week. So they do it per week usually. So 1,500 Hong Kong dollars per week. And if it's outside campus, it depends what type of room. So if you get an ensuite one with a shared kitchen, then around 160, 170. But then if you get a studio one, so you get your own kitchen, you get your own bathroom, then they could go up to 200 per week.
Quite expensive, actually.
Quite expensive. And that's only the Exeter price. If you go to London, it's a lot more expensive.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you need to pay your rent every 2 weeks, that bi-weekly? Or you pay your rent monthly?
By term, actually. So they calculate it per week. So you look at the price and it's usually per week. But when you pay, you could choose to do a full installment. So the whole year, you could pay like all the money in advance, or you could do it per term. So for example, like this year, right? I mean, I came back to Hong Kong for my second term.
Right.
Well, no, not for the second term. For the whole term. Sorry, for the whole first term and
Starting
second
from the
term, right?
third and the fourth, right? Third and the fourth term. I mean,
No, I don't have
the
third and
first two
fourth
term
term.
in year one, right? So the third and the
Oh,
fourth in year two. Am I correct?
yes. Okay. Yes. If you count it that way, yes. So for the terms that I was in year two, right? So year two terms, I was in Hong Kong, right? And I thank God I didn't have to pay. I didn't choose to pay for the whole year. I chose to pay it per term.
Oh, okay.
So then, like, I wasn't sure because I wasn't sure if I was going back to the UK in my second term in year two. So
Right.
then I chose to do that. So again, like it provides more flexibility in case you have any change of plans. Yeah.
So other than accommodation,
Mm.
anything else do you think that students need to prepare? Like transportation, do they need to research on the transportation, the route? I don't know.
Uh, I didn't when I got to the UK, but because it's easier for you to actually research when you're actually there, and we could walk it through. But if you really want to do some preparation before, then getting a trail card.
Trail card.
Yes, is that what? Yes.
You call
So
it like the
so
metro station, those cards, right?
train, not
Train
metro. So
cards.
train cards. Yes. So getting train cards because it's like the main type of transportation in the UK if you want to go to different cities. So you could apply for that first, but then it doesn't take too long to get approved. So you could kind of do it in the UK. But again, if you want more preparation, yeah, so do like research which train station is closest to your accommodation, and like you could buy it in advance. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, you have mentioned about the visa before.
Mm.
You said that because you have accepted the offer late, or you're offered the chance. Well, you have been before. You have mentioned that you got the offer later than the usual, so that has postponed or make your visa application delayed, and that's why you got an express visa, right?
Yes.
So how many months in advance have you? How many months in advance have you started to prepare all the stuff? Like start to prepare all the accommodation, uh, the packing.
1 month.
1 month.
Fair. Yes.
You sure 1 month?
Yes, it was
Very hectic.
hectic. Yes.
Oh.
Oh, it was a bit of my problem on my part, to be honest. It wasn't that the university offered me a offer late. It was me who accepted it late. Yes, because I was still considering other choices and everything, waiting for reply from other university. That's why I accepted it late. And yes, that's why it was quite hectic to pack 7 suitcases in 1 month.
1 month.
Yes, around
Well,
1 month.
you were still lucky to have the accommodation just 1 month before your arrival,
Oh yeah, yes.
right?
That is why I didn't stay at the in-campus one.
So you aren't you weren't staying
I
in.
wasn't staying in the in-campus one.
Ah,
Yeah, I was staying in a private one. But then my one it's a bit complicated. Like my one is a private one, but then they cooperate with the university. So that's why it wasn't like entirely like applying it by myself. I applied it through university, but I got a private one. See if that makes sense. Yeah.
And you do those accommodation application registrations all through online.
Yes, they're through online. Yes.
Are they difficult?
No, it wasn't. Like I'm sure the university would make it like easy for you. I just had to pick first choice, second choice, third choice, like that. So
Okay. Interesting. Wow, 1 month. I'm thinking about my experience because I spent 2 months. Yeah, I spent 2 months for
months.
preparation. But 1 month, well, 2 months was already too hectic for me. Now 1 month.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I remember just going down to the supermarket every day with my mom. Like, buy this, check off the checklist. It was so hectic.
Okay, well, I think we're done for today, and thank you so much, Samantha, for sharing your preparation life in Hong
No
Kong,
worries.
a hectic life in Hong
Yes.
Kong before moving to UK. And I believe students in Hong Kong will have a lot of considerations, got a lot of advice from Samantha as well, what to prepare, what not to prepare, and what kind of special preparation you would need to be aware of. For example, accommodation, the price level there, the rent. Also, make sure you have enough time for choosing or accepting the offer, right? But have enough time to prepare all the boxes, all the suitcases. 1 month was really hectic, but if you got a chance, if possible, I think you would need like at least 2 to 3 months in advance for the preparation.
Yes.
So, and I think from Samantha, she's suggested us not to bring too many stuff, right? The daily necessities, please don't.
Yes, please don't.
Please don't. Not oven, no oven.
Yeah, no ovens,
No
yes.
oven, please don't.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think everyone here we got really good advice from Samantha, and thank you so much, Samantha. And I wish you good luck for your third year in the next term.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, and I will see everyone next time with a new speaker again. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.